Here are the main developments from the last few hours.
Australia had been one of the most vocal and early advocates of an independent international investigation into the origins and handling of COVID-19. Australia's Foreign Minister, Marise Payne, had originally called for an independent review mechanism and argued it could not be overseen by the WHO because that strikes me as somewhat poacher and gamekeeper.
Earlier today, the Chinese embassy in Canberra declared it is nothing but a joke for Australia to claim vindication over the growing global support for an international review into the handling of COVID-19.
The comments came as trade tensions intensify over China's decision to hit Australian barley imports with tariffs of more than 80%, a move that Australia will weigh up challenging through the World Trade Organization.
Daniel Hurst.
A motion calling for an independent evaluation of the global response to the pandemic, drafted by the European Union, is expected to pass the World Health Assembly on Tuesday.
The motion, co-sponsored by about 120 countries, calls on the WHO's Director General to initiate a stepwise process of impartial, independent and comprehensive evaluation, to review the lessons learned from the international health response to COVID-19.
This process should be launched at the earliest appropriate moment and in consultation with WHO member states.
The wording of the EU drafted motion, which has wide support at the World Health Assembly, allows for the WHO Director General, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, to be the one to initiate a stepwise process of impartial, independent and comprehensive evaluation at a future date. While the exact forms of the review are not yet settled, the motion allows for the possibility of using existing mechanisms, as appropriate. That could include a role for the WHO's Independent Oversight Advisory Committee, which Tedros specifically mentioned in his speech to the World Health Assembly yesterday. Tedros said he would initiate an independent evaluation at the earliest appropriate moment so the world could learn the lessons from the pandemic. To be truly comprehensive, such an evaluation must encompass the entirety of the response by all actors, in good faith.
In these extraordinary times, The Guardian's editorial independence has never been more important. Because no one sets our agenda, or edits our editor, we can keep delivering quality, trustworthy, fact-checked journalism each and every day. Free from commercial or political bias, we can report fearlessly on world events and challenge those in power.
Your support protects The Guardian's independence. We believe every one of us deserves equal access to accurate news and calm explanation. No matter how unpredictable the future feels, we will remain with you, delivering high-quality news so we can all make critical decisions about our lives, health and security, based on fact, not fiction.
Support The Guardian from as little as $1 and it only takes a minute. Thank you.
Get in touch on Twitter at Helen R. Sullivan.
Julian Borger.
Some claims in the letter are false, for example that Taiwan had warned about human-to-human transmission of the disease on the 31st of December. On that date Taiwan sent a letter to the WHO noting the reported spate of unexplained pneumonia cases in Wuhan, China, and that the patients were in isolation, and asking for further details.
As the pandemic has worsened in the U.S., even as other countries have begun a tentative recovery, Trump has sought to blame China and the WHO. He has suspended U.S. funding to the organization, pointing to the disparity between U.S. and much smaller Chinese contributions and accusing Tedros and his team of being China-centric.
Trump ended the letter with an ultimatum calling for major substantive improvements by the WHO. He did not make clear what substantive improvements the U.S. wanted to see. The U.S. Health and Human Services Department has circulated a discussion document with other member states that was largely seen as moderate, calling for the WHO's powers of inspection to be strengthened, for example. Similar proposals were included in a resolution that appeared to have majority support at Monday's World Health Assembly.
However, some U.S. officials have suggested more drastic measures, like making the WHO emergency program semi-autonomous from the main organization. That would be seen as unpalatable by many member states.
Here is that concluding paragraph, where Trump threatens to permanently end the U.S.'s funding to the WHO and to end its membership.
You can read the letter for yourself here.
The letter from the U.S. president, images of which were tweeted by Trump late on Monday night in the U.S., also takes personal issue with the leadership of World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
The focus of this letter is undoubtedly not the World Health Organization's handling of the pandemic in general, but what Trump alleges is its alarming lack of independence from the People's Republic of China.
While many of the claims may be factually accurate, Trump is arguably seeking to scapegoat China and the WHO in order to distract from his own lack of leadership.
The U.S. is the worst affected country globally, and by a long shot.
It has over 1.5 million cases of the virus, and more than 90,000 people have died.
The 5 countries with the next highest cases have each confirmed fewer than 300,000, according to Johns Hopkins figures. Even with underreporting, there is a significant gap.
The UK has the next highest deaths, with 34,876.
Trump writes in the letter,
I will continue to post key extracts from the letter, but in the meantime it is worth returning to this piece by my colleague Julian Borger from the 9th of April. Trump's scapegoating of WHO obscures its key role in tackling pandemic.
Trump writes in the letter to World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
The remarks Trump is referring to state.
On 13 March The Guardian's science editor Ian Sample reported.
The letter also states that the World Health Organization has repeatedly made claims about the coronavirus that were either grossly inaccurate or misleading.
He has referred to the World Health Organization's political gamesmanship as deadly, writing in the letter that
the wording is extremely strong.
Trump also again praises his decision to close borders and takes issue with the lack of praise from the WHO.
Among the claims the letter alleges were grossly inaccurate or misleading are.
Further claims made in the U.S. president's letter include.
Here is an earlier Guardian blog post on that incident.
Among the claims made in U.S. President Donald Trump's letter to the head of the WHO are that his administration's review of the organization's failed response to the COVID-19 outbreak found that the WHO.
The letter tweeted out by U.S. President Donald Trump and addressed to World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus states that his review into the WHO's response to the coronavirus outbreak confirmed many of the serious concerns I raised, and identified others that the World Health Organization should have addressed, especially the World Health Organization's alarming lack of independence from the People's Republic of China.